Welcome back to the Battery Podcast. I'm Aidan,
Jack.
And I'm Casey.
and we are here to get you ready for the Boston Cannons homecoming. That is right, it is finally here. We've had to wait all season for it, but it
Best for
is,
last.
yep, absolutely best for last. I think we're going to get some fantastic games because there is still everything to play for pretty much every team except Denver.
Who's not
So,
even playing?
oh, that's right, yeah. So it's good for them that they have nothing to play for. Um, Yeah. I guess where do you guys want to start? The clinching scenarios for the cannons?
Sure.
Yeah. So it's pretty straightforward, right? The cannons are 4-4. The dogs are 4-5. The whips are 3-6. So the cannons just need to win either one of their games to get in. So obviously we'll be rooting for them in both games, but if they just, they just need the one, they still technically have a shot at the one seed if they win both. Um, but the Atlas goal differential is plus 16 and the Cannons is minus 3. So
Mhm.
we would need basically the Cannons to win both their games by like 7 and then the Atlas to lose by 5 or 6 for that to happen. So unlikely, but you never know. Um, the Cannons also could get a Champ Series spot depending on certainly if they win both games, they'll get into Champ Series again. If they win one game, it would depend on some of the other results that I think is a little too complicated to go into. Um, but you got Denver and New York in for sure. The Chaos, if they win, they're in Champ Series for the first time. And then that last spot,
Wow.
yeah, because they always had there's so many Canadians that would start the year bad because they were all playing for the Buffalo Bandits.
Right.
And yeah, but we were an anti-Buffalo
I
Bandits
mean,
podcast,
well, they're also, even if they make Champ Series, they're probably going to be so bad because
right?
everyone's going to be indoors. But
Including Blaze, yeah. But that's
that
that's yeah.
that that's not neither here nor there.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see them for the first time. They're the only team that's never made it. Alternatively, it'd be cool to keep that streak going for a little longer. And I feel like if they lose, they their goal differential is going to be so bad that someone else who's 5-5 is going to be able to take that spot from them. But anyway, we're not going to talk about Champ Series until after the regular season's over. Um, yeah, so that's it. It's win and in, win one game, or better goal differential than Philly. That'll be tough because that would mean Boston loses two, Philly loses one, and Philly's goal differential is one better than Boston. They're -2, Boston's -3. So basically, Boston would need to lose probably both their games by one, maybe one of them by two, and then need Philly to lose by at least four, I believe. So then that would put them at -6, and the Cannons would be -5. Um, so we're hoping that's not the way they get in, and because also a two-game losing streak in your homecoming weekend, not ideal. Um,
Yeah, no, definitely been a lot of more trouble for the homecoming teams
yeah,
this year than last year.
yeah. I think last
So,
year we had two or I think three teams go 3-0.
you know,
It's 2-0. Sorry, yeah, because we Maryland did for sure, New York did, and I think Utah did. I don't remember off the top.
Utah did.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then you had
I think only
Canada.
one team I think went 0 and 2
Yeah, so then four teams
last
went one
year,
and one.
but this year two teams have gone 0 and 2 and the other no, two teams, right? The Redwoods and Archers both went 0 and 2 and I think everyone else, the other five
Yeah,
were 1 and 1. So, get that first sweep of the year this weekend.
yeah, that would be
I'm
clutch.
booking it right now.
Yeah, I think I mean the we'll let's get to the specific matchups. I think it's doable, certainly. Like they're not if they were playing like the Outlaws and Atlas this week, I would be a little bit more worried. That's not to take anything away from any of these teams. Obviously, any of them can win any given day. Um, the Woods just got back to their winning ways. I guess let's start there. The Friday night opponent, Friday at 6:30, Harvard Stadium, obviously, you got to be there. Um, yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on this matchup? Obviously, they had that huge win. Everyone's talking about Dylan Malloy wearing Anthony Kelly's old cleats. Um, you got to assume he's going to be wearing those again. Let's hope, the Hobbit magic can counteract whatever wizardry Anthony Kelly put into those things. Yeah, how are you guys feeling about that matchup? Where do you think the strengths are, the weaknesses are for the Cannons?
Casey, you want to go first?
Sure. Well, I think this game is going to be really high energy. I think it's going to be a really good and fun, exciting game to watch. Obviously, they've got TD, so at the face-off,
Who
you
dominated
know,
Nardella last week? He went like
right.
70% against one of like it's been him and Baptiste atop the charts clearly the whole history of the PLL.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
If the Cannons are trailing late, I don't like their chances because getting the ball consistently is going to be tough.
right.
Yeah.
Um, and then I mean, Kirsty's last game was great. Um, but he's 50% on the season, and I think so is Chase Erlin as well. Um, Obviously, I believe that we're gonna win.
Hmm.
Um, are we gonna do game prediction?
Yeah, we'll get to that
Okay,
at the end,
okay,
I
okay,
think. Yeah.
okay. Um, yeah, I think it is gonna be a little bit of a battle. Just because I think that they're coming off getting their like mojo back, so to speak, and I think that they're in pretty high spirits and they understand that it's like now or never. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, let's just mention the Woods playoff hopes because that's somewhat relevant. So they're also a win and in. So obviously everything to play for. And then if they lose, they get in. If the Archers lose or if the Archers win, but the Woods have a better score differential, the Woods are now -5. The Archers are -14. So like their hopes aren't lost if they lose this game, but obviously, winning in, you control your own destiny. Like both of these teams are going to be giving it everything they have. Because this is the first game of the weekend. I mean, the Archers could be eliminated by the time the game starts, but that'll only happen. Like, we're not going to know that going into this. So, um, yeah, it's going to be an everything matchup. Yeah, Jack, what do you have?
Every time I think about this game, I just think about last year's matchup with the Redwoods because obviously that was also to open up homecoming, and I think Brian's talked about it a lot that they were really just nervous coming out last year, which I understand that from Brian, but at the same time, it was really at the end of the game that things got away from them, so you would have expected them to sell in at that point. So for me, it's just tough to gauge because this is such a different Redwoods team than last year, and they started off so hot, but then went in the tank that I really don't know how I'm supposed to feel about them. Because if you asked me when the schedule was released, I'd say I'd be hesitant because of what happened last year, but I'd say that's W, the Redwoods stink. You asked me after the second week of the season, I'd be, whew, that's a good team. You ask me, it was just last weekend that they got their third win, right? Or no,
No, they're
or
4-5. They've won
they're
two in a
four and
row.
five now.
Yeah.
They have two in a row. So if you ask me 2 weeks ago, before they ended their 5 game skid, I would have said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna smoke them." The Red would still stink. Now it is a real toss up. If I'm being completely honest, I mean Chris Kavanaugh. I mean probably rookie of the year. I would say,
Yeah, I think so
in my
too.
opinion, and so their offense especially has just been really good this year, and our defense has not been the same that that has been. So I would definitely be just I'm hesitant about that side of the ball. How is the Cannons defense going to hold up against the Redwoods offense? So I think that it will be a pretty tough game, and I think that ultimately it's honestly I think it's going to end up last year was pretty low scoring 9-7. I think this year, and I know we're not getting into the game predictions, but it feels like it's just going to be whose offense is hotter.
Yeah. And I'm not saying this to light a fire under the woods or take anything away from what they've done. I do also want to just say their two wins came against the Whips and the Archers, the two teams who are currently out of the playoffs. I mean, the Archers offense has just not been able to score all year long. They haven't been completely healthy all year long. And the Whips are still like rotating people in and out. Like Rambo's washed, Pinnell, was absent for his wedding. Brandau's finally looking electric, but like they've just not, neither of those teams has been consistently good. And again, that is not to take anything away from Dylan Malloy's 5 goal game, or the Magic Cleats or anything, or TD's dominant performance last week against Nardella. Um, like they're winning the games when they have to win. But I think they were unlucky with those 5 losses in a row, which didn't reflect how well they were playing. And I think maybe similarly, the 2 wins they've had now. Let me just remind myself of the scores. Uh, Denver, it's right, it was 14-13 over Maryland, and then
Mhm.
9-8 over Utah. And it was a gritty 9-8. I don't know. I still like, obviously, yeah, I still think the Cannons are the better team. They've each got 4 wins on the year. The Cannons goal differential is slightly better. Um, But I think also, like, you look at the game the Cannons just had, which of course Casey and I recapped earlier in the week, for sure, like far and away the Cannons' best game of the year. Like the defense finally clicked. They made the adjustments they need after a team that embarrassed them at the start of the year. So I still like, I'm happy for the Redwoods. It was tough to see them be so bad for a while. Like they were the worst team, if not by
They
record.
clicked, but the Water Dogs also made a comeback in the fourth quarter
That's true. I,
last
I think
weekend. So, which does give me pause just because the Cannons started off 3-1. And I think I said this earlier in the year that you say that it wasn't a big deal that the Cannons basically didn't score a goal in that fourth quarter against the Whipsnakes because, oh, they're 3-1. They're the best team in the league. But then they went and lost three in a row, which now looking back was kind of a sign of what was to come. So that does make me hesitant that, yeah, they had that phenomenal game against the Outlaws in Fairfield. And so they're technically on a 2-game heater. But the fact that they let the Water Dogs back in the game does make me concerned about this defense.
Yeah, that's fair. I think especially like you think if they didn't let their foot off the gas in both of those games, their goal differential would be positive and then would not be nearly so concerning.
Mhm.
They'd be better than the Water Dogs if the Dogs were, -5 and the Cannons were at what, 0, or even plus, right? Because they were up by like 6 or 7 against the Whips too, and that wound up being a
Yeah,
long. Um, yeah, for sure. I don't think this Cannons team, they haven't played as well as that team from last year or certainly the year before. So there's a lot of cause for concern. Obviously, we're all still taking the Cannons, but it is not as clear cut as we'd like it to be. I mean, but then again, last year, right, we thought it was clear cut and we wound up giving the Woods their first win of the year, not scoring in the fourth quarter. I think, the
right.
that joke that I made earlier is like whatever team is winning in the fourth quarter of this game is going to lose because like 6 or 7 of the Woods' 9 games so far, they've either come from behind in the fourth quarter to win or given up a fourth quarter lead to lose. So, um, if we're ahead by like 10 going into the fourth, fantastic. But anything less than that, I'm gonna be nervous all the way until the end. I'm glad this is game one though, because I feel like that youthful energy this team has is like they're really like not going to be able to, not that any of these guys like don't get tired or that they can't fight through the tiredness, but just that youthful energy of being like 22, 23, versus, the Cannons have some players like over 30, not many, but um, yeah, it's still that this team, like they just don't give up. And you see that in all their wins so far. Do you want to make a score prediction and switch to the Whips game, or do you want to do Whips game and then double score prediction at the end?
Yeah, let's get a score prediction in here and then
Yeah.
close the book on Friday.
All right. I'm gonna say 11-10 Cannons.
I'm gonna go 12-10
Cannons, I hope.
Cannons. Yes.
Hmm. I was gonna say 13-9, which is funny, but and of course cannons. But I think it's gonna be maybe closer to like 16-13 cannons.
Okay.
Been up there.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I'd take that for sure. I think, that crowd, I think 16, you probably get a two-pointer or two in there, which always electrifies the crowd. Um, it's going to be hard to
Just give
top.
Campbell the ball.
Yep. I wanted to talk about him. Like, we've talked about the Cannons are struggling, like, and the offense, like, production on both sides hasn't been as great. Campbell is leading midfielders in points this year. Like,
Midfielder of the year.
yeah, I mean, it's we know it's not going to be Tom Schreiber. No, that's not about him getting hurt. He just was having a bad year. Um, yeah, I mean, I feel like especially if Campbell balls out this weekend, if he's got what like another like 6 to 10 points, um, throws in another two. I don't see have a two so far this year. I think maybe one. Yeah, I think he has one.
Campbell,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, um, yeah, like would not be surprised for him to still have one monster game. I think two. Um, the Woods defensive midfield is an area that the Cannons will hopefully be able to exploit. I think, Jules Henningberg has been an amazing addition to that offense. Drenner, obviously, we constantly sing his praises, and then Campbell. One of those guys is going to get a short stick. And Connor Kirst, too, had, maybe that cursed magic last week against the Dogs fueled him because he's been definitely on the up after a very slow start to the year. Um, and I mean, yeah, it sucks with Chris Merle getting hurt early in the year. Forget it was Achilles or ACL. But I feel like the
I think it
offense,
was his knee, yeah.
yeah, can definitely take advantage of those short sticks. Like BJ Farrar, who's an LSM, has been playing a lot of short stick D mid for them. They just signed. You can complain for a second about the lack of movement at the trade deadline. No one was actually traded, but the Woods did sign Connor Camille, who's a rookie out of. I want to say I'm just going to look it up and not be wrong. And I think also it's Camille. Don't remember. Ohio State. There we go. Um, Sign him for D mid depth. It's tough to imagine you sign a guy and 3 days later he's playing in the last game of the year, but you never know. Um, but anyway, that's
Wasn't there
You, you
somebody that
you
got
wouldn't be
picked up?
signing him if you didn't need him.
that's true.
Somebody got picked up, and I think I was reading that for some reason, maybe you guys can clarify this for me, but somebody got picked up by a team and then they have to dress and be on the active roster this week.
Uh,
Retch or Resh, something
yeah,
like
I,
that.
I guess it was him. He was the only person, the only other action on trade deadline day. I didn't know. I think I'd heard that rule, but I couldn't have explained it to you. Um, it's something like if a guy doesn't dress for um, 3 weeks in a row, he's released to the player pool and another team can claim him. And then I guess maybe a part of that is they have to dress him the next week. Um,
Mm.
let's see if that is easily findable on their website.
I think that's what Orestia said. Yeah, which makes sense that so that's like the 30% rule in the
Mm.
offseason that you can be signed, but if you're not, you go back to your former team. So the same thing, it's if you're not playing a guy, someone can take him, but you can't just take him and then not use him because that's what the other
Mhm.
team was doing. So if you're going to take him, you have to actually use him,
Okay, yeah, that makes
which
sense.
is logical.
Yeah. And it also makes a lot of sense that now Pat Rash can play for his dad.
Yeah.
It is.
It's like being DFA'd in
Oh yeah,
baseball or hockey, that you can't claim a guy and then stash him on your minor league team because that's exactly what the other team was gonna do.
right. That makes a lot of sense. Oh my God, talking about I just pulled up their roster to look at their other D mids. Obviously, Brian Tevlin, fantastic player, two-way player. We didn't mention our boy Carter Parlett. I wish, the rosters for this are going to come out on Thursday when you're hearing this. Um, Man, I hope he gets into the game. I think that'd be really cool. And then obviously, I hope he gets cooked repeatedly by Matt Campbell and Ryan Drenner. But um, yeah, I did get to meet him in Fairfield when I went down there, and he was super nice. He honestly seemed as excited to talk to me as I was to talk to him. Just really like grateful to have the opportunity. Like just told him how cool it was to see him play in Champ Series. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. So just that seeing him on the roster reminded me there. Would love to see him finally get to play against the Cannons, if not for the Cannons. Um, Yeah. All right. Now let's switch to the Whipsnakes game. Um, yeah. I remember talking to Jackson, Van Vleek, Archer's super fan before the year, or maybe it was during Champ Series. I don't, at some point before the season.
Wasn't it on our preview pod too, even maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, just I mean, yeah, of course I've talked to him a bunch, but like his specific hot take that the Whips were going to miss the
Oh
playoffs.
yeah.
He definitely didn't have the hot take that the Archers were going to miss the playoffs. Um,
Yeah,
but
how about that? The two teams from the championship last year might be the two teams to miss.
yeah.
Wow.
Fingers crossed. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so the Whips, if we think the Cannons and the Redwoods are going to be playing for their lives, um, there's a chance the Whips are eliminated before this game starts. If the Water Dogs and Cannons both win their first game, the Whips are eliminated. But if one or both of those things doesn't happen, if the Cannons lose or the Dogs lose, game one, then the Whips will be able to get in if they beat the Cannons because they have still a great score differential from when they beat the Chaos 20-6 in game two of their homecoming. So, um, yeah, I mean, we're both hoping that the Whips are eliminated before this game starts because that means the Cannons have clinched. But um, the Cannons could still be playing theoretically for the one seed. They could be playing for a shot at Champ Series, right? If the Archers beat the Chaos, the Chaos would be 5-5, but still with like a -8 goal differential or something like that. Um, but yeah, the Whips are going to be playing for their lives, assuming they are still alive at that point, which I think there's a good chance they are. Um, yeah, who knows what's going to happen in New York and Philly. And then, we're of course rooting for Boston against California, but we acknowledge it is a possibility. Um, so yeah, I guess what are you guys expecting out of this game? The Whips have looked,
I think it's going to be ugly.
yeah.
I think it's just going to be an absolute grind slugfest. Like, I think we're going to get shades of the Boston Philly game from last year.
Hmm.
Maybe not to the same degree, just because of the just how much hatred there is between Boston and Philly, but I think that you're gonna be the cans will be juiced up, but they'll also be tired, especially if, we're all predicting that. I mean, I think we all said double digit score for both teams in the Cans Redwoods game, so it's probably gonna be a game with high emotions. So I think that it's gonna be a grind. And, like you said, it's likely that the Whip Snakes are still going to be in it and are going to be fighting for their lives. So it's just going to be an absolute slugfest to the finish.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be gritty. It's gonna be gruesome. I think again, the Whips have the edge in the faceoff dot. Let me look up how Tucci did the first game against um Nardella.
Nardella,
Uh, but yeah, I mean, they made
I
like
think he held his own because obviously the Cannons won. I don't,
yeah.
you know,
Um,
Nardella got the better of him, but I don't think it was anything astronomical.
yeah, let me get here quickly. Face off, very convenient. He's the only one. Show me that game log. Where's Whip Snakes? 44%, which I mean, yeah, I'll take that
Yeah,
from Tucci against. I feel like if he goes that well, and it doesn't show any violations or whatever, but if he does that well against Nardella, I feel very good about the Cannons' chances in this one. Um, because I do still think the Cannons have the edge in goal. I think they have. I mean, it really depends on what offense the Whips roll out there. I gotta think Rambo's not playing, which makes the Whips better.
Mhm.
Very funny to say that given how the PLL started. Um,
Yeah.
Pennell, I mean, he had his best game of the year last week, but that was just 2 goals and I think maybe 1 assist. Um, I mean, Aiden Carroll still looks fantastic, but I don't know. It honestly, I only had 1 or 2 really good games out of the at attack, but it kind of felt like he was a little better fit at midfield. And then you have Anderson, Malone, and um, Brandau at attack. Um, well, I'm definitely not Stags to not one to tell Stags how to do his job. Aside from that, he should care about sixes more. But that's a different conversation. um, yeah, I don't know. And Brandau's looked dangerous. He's really come alive the second half of the year. I think he
Hmm.
leads. He's like fourth in the league in goals or something. Which is it's nice after seeing how he barely got playing time in Philly last year. And Carroll's been. I think he early in the year was in conversation for rookie of the year. I mean, particularly you remember that game where the Atlas blew an 8-1 lead or something like that to the Whips. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, Carroll had a bunch of points in that. Um, against, I feel like the Cannons have the edge at the midfield position with like I think our similar to the Woods. I think our middies will be able to take over, take their short sticks. I think, Jake Bernhardt's getting up in age. You've got Mazer out of Army. I mean, I'll never get in a toughness competition with a guy from Army. Um, but I don't know. And then who else is it? We got oh yeah, Kyle Aldridge made his PLL debut, and Puglisi, who's been like good, but I think just not quite the, now all these guys are gonna score and Puglisi's gonna get a 2-pointer. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't I feel like that's an area the Cannons will be able to win. I think hopefully compared to um Fairman and not Fairman, Goodrich and Trainer and Ramsey. Hopefully being able to contain whoever they're running out of the box, whether it's they just signed Ryan Ogden as well. Um Heacock, uh I feel like I can Patras who's a little and Brad Smith, yeah, is their one guy now.
Talking lineups, you think that Holman is gonna host King Manny and have Prince Mackesy running out the box again, or you think we'll revert to just having one or the other? I got to imagine both guys will play this weekend, but I think I personally think that they looked good together, so I would love to see
Hmm.
them out there on the field together both nights. But what do you think? Do you think they'll just give, that, I mean, Manny is obviously up there in age, so do you think they might uh have both on the roster, but only
Hmm.
play one night and one the other night?
I hope one game at least they have both in there. They looked so good together playing 2-man
Hmm.
games. It's very similar to how like when the Atlas signed Kyle Jackson, like the hope that he was going to be able to work with T, and now Bowering's been able to do that for them, and that's been such a great combo for them since he's come into the lineup. Yeah, you're right about the fatigue. I definitely think that we're going to see a slightly different lineup in both games. It'll be interesting to see what changes are made, and of course that might depend on what happens in game one. If a guy like strains his hamstring or something, then you sit him for day two, obviously. But I feel like you got to put them together um, against California at the very least, because that's right. The first game, you win that game, you're in the playoffs, and then you rest Manny and his 34-year-old legs or whatever it is. Let McAsee run at attack game two and put Hogg or Kelly or someone else back in midfield.
Mm.
Or I mean, it'd be nice to see Vardaro one last time too. One last time this season. I'm not saying his career's over or anything after this year. Um, yeah, I think I would like you gotta after they did so well, they were so
Yeah.
effective. And again, I feel like this is not excusing them, but it feels like they could have scored more in that fourth quarter against Philly than they did. They just let their foot off the gas.
Yeah. Who is the Connor cursed out? I was trying to remember that they technically only just four middies
Yeah.
last weekend, and it was Jules cursed, and then obviously Campbell and Jenner. So probably trot that lineup back out for Friday, and then yeah, to your point, if they win and Manny gets a rest, you plug in Kelly or Auger, one of those middies.
Yeah. And then maybe, again, depending, you have like maybe we see John Geppert for the first time of the year if Rawl or Grant needs a
Mm,
rest, or you see Camizio for the first time. I don't know. It feels like that most likely change is Manny coming out and putting another midi in. But yeah, again, you never know.
yeah.
But first, I mean, first we got to win against the Woods. That's priority
Yes.
numero uno. Um, yeah, if that, I would really, really love for them to get that win, and then we can be a lot more relaxed against Maryland. Because yeah, Maryland's goal differential is good enough that we are not gonna squeak into the playoffs by having a better goal differential than them.
Unless just absolutely pump their tires.
Yeah. Well, if we win, then we have a better win-loss record, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, we would need.
No. Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, we would need if
If
Boston
we
loses both
lost.
games, they need Philly to lose by like by 4 or 5 at least.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Which again, I'm listen, I'm also fine with Philly losing by a lot. That is not a problem for me. But I don't want to need Philly to, yeah, will be,
Yeah. No, like we said, let's just get the homecoming sweep.
yeah, yeah, please. Let's end that on a high note. Um, yeah, you guys want to do some score predictions for game two, and then we'll just plug homecoming in and wrap it up.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Jack, start us off.
Oh, all right. So I went 12-10 Friday night, and I said that this was going to be a slugfest. And so I, if it's a slugfest and a grind, part of me thinks that guys are going to get tired. And so you think that, well, I shouldn't say, pardon me, guys are going to get tired. And so the first thing that I think of with guys getting tired is defenses wearing down and shooters just going off. But a slugfest game to me is more low scoring. And I think the offenses might also get tired. Guys don't have as much oomph on their shot. So I'm actually going to go, I think the loser will have single digits. I'm really torn on if I want both teams, not want, but if both teams will be in the single digits or if the winner will just crest double. I guess I'll go 11. No, I just said 12-10. It's gotta be, yeah. I'm gonna go 9-7 cannons.
Oof. That's yeah, all right. Same score as against California last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go slightly higher. I'm gonna go 10-8. I think you're right. Someone's gonna have a big day, but I think overall it's gonna be a tough one, especially yeah, given the back-to-back nature for Boston.
Well, I'm gonna say 10-9.
All right. Um,
Split the difference.
yep. And hopefully it's the Cannons set the Champ Series record for goals in a game when they played the Whips there. Hopefully they set a PLL record and we're wildly wrong and it's like 30 to 9. And Zach Tucci just gets absolutely exhausted because he has to go out there and take what 40 something faceoffs with the quarter breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also, Jack, just want to briefly like just call to attention. There's been 2 weeks so far where the homecoming team has had really quick turnarounds where they play Friday at 6 or 7
Mm.
time and then play at 1 the next day.
Yep.
And that was the 20-6 thumping of Maryland,
Yep.
of the Chaos by Maryland after they lost to Boston the night before. And then Denver beating New York in overtime after losing to also Carolina
Hmm.
the night before. Um, I don't know what to make of that aside from the Cannons have more than 24 hours, right? It's 6:30 start and 7 o'clock start. So I mean, I still feel like that's better, right? Like you wouldn't want if I choose the Cannons option or the Whips and Denver option, I'd take ours. But I don't know, just thought it was interesting that the teams with the shortest turnaround have had great showings in different ways.
Yeah, I think part of that at least has to be the mentality of the fact that they both lost
Yeah.
the night before, so they really were jacked up to come out and give it their all and make sure that they didn't go over on homecoming weekend. What that says about, why did they lose the first game? I don't know, but I think that the second one is a mix of they did lose, so they felt they needed to get that win in front of the home crowd. And also, I think, yeah, you're going to be beat up and tired, but I wonder if, sitting around all day and thinking about how you have to play another game at night
Mm.
almost might be, again, I'm not saying it's worse, that it's not better than one, but you're trying to recover and get ready for the game all over again. Whereas the other one, you're just waking up and going. So you almost don't even have time to realize how sore and tired you are.
Yeah, like that. I mean, that Denver game was at 11 a.m. local time, and that is a quick
Yeah,
turnaround.
right.
Yeah. Um, Again, I mean, hopefully it's not relevant because the Cannons beat the Woods, and this game technically kind of means nothing. I mean, obviously there's Champ Series on the line. There's potentially the 1 seed if the Atlas lose by a bunch earlier in the day. Um, but
And
just go out and have
you
fun.
never want to lose.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Every game means something.
Yeah, and I think the Woods matchup is a little bit random to have in our homecoming 2 years in a row, but giving us Maryland and Philly for that other game, like I really don't like any of the other teams in the Eastern Conference. So I think you're going to get a Boston crowd that is really going to enjoy if we get to beat them, especially the fashion we beat Philly last year.
Mhm.
That was that was a gritty come from behind win. That was really a 12-10 and then got a 2-pointer late. Um, Obviously, I hope the Cannons are, wire to wire winning, but a, a, a fourth quarter, an ending like that would be fantastic to get the crowd juiced. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So let's just make sure everyone knows when and where to get to homecoming. So the Cannons have that first game the day after you're listening to this. If you're listening to it on Thursday, if you're listening to it on Friday, get yourself to Harvard Stadium right now because the Cannons will be playing the California Redwoods 6:30 on Friday, Harvard Stadium. We'll have a ticket link in our bio. Obviously, there's a ticket link on the PLO website. We're in section 33. That is the supporter section. We're behind the Cannons bench to obviously support our boys, root for them, get some autographs, talk to them after the game. Um, yeah, and hopefully we're supporting, we're cheering on a win and a playoff clinching appearance. The Chaos and Archers do also play at 9 that night. It's the same ticket, so stick around. And then Saturday, 1 p.m. is Water Dogs Atlas. You know, that'll be a separate ticket because the Cannons play at 7 p.m. against the Whipsnakes. Same deal, same ticket link, or same ticket link for the weekend. But it is a separate ticket for both of those games as well as for the games on Friday.
Unless you have to pass.
Oh yes, yeah. If you're a homecoming pass holder, if you got that last year, got it again, or if you are interested in getting it and make sure you get the same seat for this time next year or whenever the Cannons homecoming is going to be. That'll be one ticket for all four games. I think it's $155, which if you divide by four is really not too bad, especially if you're sitting, you know, first or second row, like all of us will be. Um, yeah. Let's see. The Premier Zone open up 90 minutes before, so you can hang out, play some games, win some prizes. Um, Talk to us. We might be, I mean, we'll definitely be there, obviously. We'll try to get some content going for our socials too about, Cannon's memories or anything like that. Because we got to the end of this, we didn't even mention this is 25 years of Cannon's lacrosse. The only original
Wow.
MLL team still left. The
Hmm.
Outlaws, yes, were in the MLL, but they did not start in 2001. They started in 2006. So the Cannons have all that history, more history than any other team. Titletown, obviously. Uh,
And they never took a break.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Oh,
the Outlaws went away for a bit. Um, so yeah, come celebrate that glorious history. Um, yeah, and hope we'll celebrate with two dubs. I know there's gonna have some fun like colonial Revolutionary War tie-ins for this game too. So if that gets you going to maybe get some cannons themed Revolutionary War merch and stuff like that. And I mean, obviously those throwback unis they officially announced today,
Yes.
or yesterday when you're listening to this.
gorgeous.
Yep.
So sick.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
you'll
yeah.
find all three of us in one of those at some point in the very near future. Um, all right, yeah. So hopefully we see you at Harvard Stadium 6:30 on Friday and 7 p.m. on Saturday. Or come to all four games. I know I will be there. Um, yeah, we'll just be rooting on, hoping our boys clinch a playoff spot, maybe clinch a Champ Series spot, and can finally get that elusive double and get a PLL championship to go with their MLL. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, all right. So we hope to see you all in the stands on Friday. But until then, go Cannons.
Go Cannons.
Go Cannons.
Boom.
Boom.
Boom.